Hey everybody, this is Christopher Small, the owner of CMS Law Firm. We do estate planning, we do probate, we do it well. Today, I want to get the microphone over here so you can hear me. There we go. Today, I want to talk about the two considerations business owners should be contemplating when they are thinking about estate planning. Before I get to that, though, I want to remind you, if you have questions about this or anything else related to estate planning or probate, and you want to talk with us over the phone for free, you can go to estatemeeting.com. Set up a time to do that. Super simple, estatemeeting.com. Okay, as usual, this topic today came from a conversation that I had with a new client who was a potential client. This person is a business owner, chiropractor in particular, and she was interested in putting together an estate plan. She didn't have one. And one of the things that we talked about at length was her business and how to handle her business. And this a lot of people encounter but don't take care of. And it can become critically important. And it can have a dramatic impact on the sort of the livelihood of your family if you're not careful and if you're not thinking about it. Okay. So actually, this should be three considerations because there's one other thing that you can do to sort of blanket over this while you're doing the other two. As a regular person, we have two things that we want to think about when we're talking about estate planning. That is, what happens if you are alive but incapacitated? Who's going to take care of you? And what happens when you die? Who's going to take care of your assets? When you are a business owner, you have an extra consideration. That is, if you are unable to make choices on your own behalf, who is going to take care of you and who is going to take care of your business? And when you die, who is going to take care of your estate and who is going to make sure that your business retains its value, the value that you've created over time? A perfect example is my business. I'm a lawyer here. I have another attorney starting on Monday, which is exciting. And that's going to sort of help with this problem. But what would happen if I got in a car accident, and I was in the hospital for 6 months? How would the business continue to run? How would it continue to operate? If you haven't put a plan in place for something like this, then that could be a significant problem. And it's tough because you don't ever really see that happening. But if it does happen, your business could be upended and be over before you even know it. And so that is one consideration. And then the other consideration as well is when you die. Like, what if you died unexpectedly? Would your business be able to maintain itself long enough to be sold, to be taken over? How would the business continue to operate if you were not there? That is really what we're talking about. Okay. Now, and it doesn't really matter if your business is huge or it's small. The bigger it is, actually, the easier it is to overcome some of these problems that I've just talked about, because you typically have people that are working for you that could step in a pinch. If you're a company, if you're a law firm and you have 10 lawyers, and one of the attorneys goes down, somebody is probably going to be able to pick up the slack on that person until they can get back. If one of them dies, then those other attorneys are going to be there again to pick up the slack, to just hire somebody else to make all of that work. Another thing that you can do, by the way, and to continue on that thread, if you're smaller, it's harder because there's just less room for error. When it comes to that circumstance where you are incapacitated, where you're alive but unable to work, an option is to talk to some other people in your industry potentially and sort of set up a deal. Or, hey, if something ever happens to me, can you step in and take care of this for a minute? And I will be happy to do the same for you, because you never know. A perfect example of this is in my actual office. One of the people here who is an accountant had a stroke and was out of commission, like right at tax time, for about 6 months actually. And there's another accountant here that was able to sort of step in and help him with his business until he was able to get back on his feet. That wasn't a planned thing. It was just luck. But those are the type of circumstances that you don't really think about that can destroy a lifetime of business. And we can all see how fast it can go. Like this coronavirus stuff really puts into perspective how fast things can go downhill with things that happen that are outside of our control. All right, so think about those things. If you are a business owner, think about those two scenarios. Number one, if something happens to you and you don't die, how does the business continue to operate until you are back on your feet? And then number two, when you do die, how does the business continue to operate so that the business can be sold, so that the next person can step up, so that whatever happens as far as succession goes, so the business can continue to operate and continue to provide that that structure, that equity, that money that your family needs. Okay. Now, there's a simple solution to this. That there are two simple solutions, actually. They're sort of one and the same that help. And these are some of the things that I've done, particularly when it comes to protecting your own family. Number one is get supplemental disability insurance. Okay, yes, you pay a little bit for it, but what you're paying for is this exact scenario. Okay, what happens if you can't work for a long time? How's your family eat? And then number two is get a life insurance policy that is enough to essentially buy the business for the family. All right, so for example, if you own whatever that number is, if you get $1 million life insurance policy and you die, yes, it would be sad if your business was unable to continue. The clients would be worked out. You'd be able to figure out how to get them help, but that $1 million would go straight to your family as if the business was sold, and it makes that loss a little easier, at least for your family. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Okay, that's it. But if you're a business owner, do you have extra considerations to make? My advice is to not keep putting this off, but to tackle one thing at a time and progressively build your plan as you go along. The personal estate planning you can do just like everyone else does. You need a will. If you have a business, you want to consider doing a trust to avoid probate and for some other important reasons. But when it comes to who would take over if something happened, that comes down to processes, to procedures, to people, having people in place that can step in and do these things. And that happens over time. So that's it. All right. If, as always, you like this video, please hit the like button. If you know someone that needs to hear it, please share it with them. If you have a question or comment, please leave it. And if you want to talk more about estate planning or probate related to your particular situation or any other situation, you can go to estatemeeting.com and set up a time to talk with us over the phone for free, estatemeeting.com. All right. That is it. Thank you so much. I'm Christopher Small. I'm the owner of CMS Law Firm. We do estate planning. We do probate. We do it well. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. I appreciate you, and I will talk to you again soon. See ya.